You mentioned the traffic getting here, and several times in your speech you talked about traffic management and handling cars and traffic along those lines. What are your thoughts, plans, public transportation? The light rail system has been slowly kind of up and coming. Metro's made a lot of changes. Do you have any?
So glad you asked. And there's an article hopefully coming out this weekend about that, the Chronicles, talking about, you all may have seen in the Houston area survey, number one concern, public transportation and transit. And I'm excited because I think there's maybe finally a way forward. I've always been a huge advocate for rail. I was on council when we voted for the first line. I was in Congress and was probably one of the most outspoken advocates for the expansion that now, 12 years later, we're finally seeing move forward. But my concern has always been money, because obviously the funding formula changed, and where it used to be about 80% of the money coming from the federal government, that changed to where about 80% would have to come from the municipality. And so how are we going to get there? But you can't talk about being a modern city without having a modern public transportation system, and that's one place we've really fallen behind, and people moving here aren't going to stand for it. I think the answer to really fill the holes and some of the corridors to connect people is bus rapid transit. And I've looked at it ever since my days in Congress, and I continue to think that it can really work, especially based on the examples of other cities. Cleveland has a bus rapid transit line that is being taken full advantage of. It has great ridership numbers. It has development coming up around it, and it's moving people faster. And for those of you who don't know how it works, it's a dedicated lane of traffic. They call it a bus, but it's not really a bus. The best line I heard about it, they said, it's not a train, it's not a bus, it's the future. And it really is. It looks more like a rail car, travels low to the ground. You stand on a platform, you don't pay as you get on, you get a ticket just like you would for the light rail system, and it moves about 35 miles per hour, and the lights are triggered by the car, so it can move very smoothly down the dedicated lane. And there are certain corridors here, like if you look out down the Katy Freeway coming into downtown, that would be perfect as far as where you could connect folks from their bus routes and then move them in. And so those are the types of things I would like to look at, because for bus rapid transit, it costs about a quarter of what light rail costs, about 25%, so it's a much more affordable option.
So the bus rapid transit would be a proposed solution also for commuter type situations?
Well, I would think so, if you could move it out, yeah. So you would have to look at the different lines, and I think it'd be kind of silly in a campaign to say what all the lines are going to be, because as you know, there's a lot of discussion about that, but there's some natural corridors that we'll be talking about.